Hello everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome back to the tutorial series on GRIAN'S mansion, and no, I didn't forget the intro. I'm just trying something a little new and going without it for now. So maybe it'll be back at some point, maybe I'll make a new one, or I might just stick like this with launching straight into the video, so let me know what you think. Before we begin, I have a couple of things to address. The first is that at the beginning of the last episode, I gave a shout out to a guy from my Discord who sent me a world download of a work in progress Hermitcraft recreation, which has been a huge help to me working on this project. Now, I was very quickly informed that the world which I'm currently standing in here was a group effort, so here is a well-deserved shout out to the awesome team who have been working on this recreation. We have Avalone, Paradox, Mr. Kiddo, Buddhist Monk, Dragonstorm, eCanDo, and last but not least, Jovi123 Wine. So massive well done and thanks to all of those guys for their work on the Hermitcraft server recreation. Now the other thing is that all of these oak planks that we placed last time should actually be spruce planks, and I'm really glad that I worked this out before we went any further, because this isn't actually too much to replace. If we'd built that whole room in there, which we're going to start working on in this episode, then that would have been a massive pain. Now that that's all done and dusted, we can crack on with the actual tutorial, where we'll be making a start on the large room that goes inside here. First thing we need to do is actually dig out the space that this room is going to go in. So we're going to come to this corner, dig out all of those. We're then going to dig 29 blocks in this direction. That 29 block trench should come to here just inside this wall. We're then going to turn it 90 degrees and dig back by a total of 56 blocks. Once you've done that, you want to come back to your corridor, dig down this side, dig another 29 blocks this way. Once you've done all of that, you'll then have two complete sides to your room, which you can use as your template for digging out a big rectangle here, which I'm totally not just going to use the fill command for. And boom! Manual digging out of this area completed. So this is the total size of the room. And the first thing we're going to build in here is the two pillars that go either side of this corridor. We want to start by taking our spruce planks, building 3 blocks out from the wall like that, coming across another 4 blocks, so this is a total of 5 blocks wide, and then come back into the wall like so. Place the second layer of the spruce planks on top of the first, just like that. Then around the inside here, place any old block. You don't need to be able to see this, so I'm just using the yellow blocks that I've been using as temporary blocks here to make it obvious. And around those, place upside down spruce stairs like so. Now get some stripped dark oak logs and some glowstone. Along these 3 blocks here, we're going to build up the stripped logs like that to a height of 31 logs going up, and behind them on this side and on this side we're going to build up glowstone to the same height. We then want to cover up all of that glowstone by putting spruce trapdoors on the side of it like this, and make sure you do that with the other side as well. Once you've covered up that glowstone, we want to go back to our spruce planks, and around the top like this, we're building a layer of the spruce planks similar to what we did at the bottom. Then above those planks, we want to put more of our temporary blocks, so we can put another ring of the upside down spruce stairs like this, with then 3 layers of spruce planks on top. And when you've built those 3 layers of planks, you should find that that brings you just up to the height of this dirt here. So that is one pillar done, and what we're going to do now is create an identical one on this side over here. So we now have ourselves 2 lovely grand looking pillars framing our entrance to the mansion, but the walls to either side of them are, well, they're non-existent. So what we're going to do, we're going to first replace these bottom 3 blocks of the wall, which are currently dirt, with grey concrete powder like this. Make sure you replace that one that you can see through the stairs as well. So all along this wall, replace those with concrete powder, and then on top of it, we're building up Cyan Terracotta to the same height, when I get there in a minute, to the same height as these stairs just here. When you've done that for both sides, you will have this nice solid, albeit rather blank looking wall along that side of the room. Next step is to make a start on some of the pillars that go down the sides. So to start this off, we're going to come to this corner we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 blocks along that wall. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks out. And place some spruce planks just there. From those spruce planks, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 blocks that way, 4 blocks that way, and then another 3 blocks back. And once we've done that, build up 2 more layers of the spruce planks on top of it, and that will give us our base to our first pillar. On top of that base, you're then going to put some temporary blocks like I've done here, and then again with the spruce stairs going around upside down like so. We're then going to go to our stripped dark oak logs and build them up on the front of the pillar like so until we hit that terraforming above us. We then want to add some more stripped dark oak logs going up on the back 2 corners like this. Both of these are also going to go up until they hit the terraforming there. And these 2 last middle blocks which we've left clear, we're going to build up with glowstone. Once you've done all of that, we want to cover up that glowstone on both sides with some spruce trapdoors. That completes this pillar, and we now want to build 3 more pillars going back in line with the first. They're going to be identical to this, except for the fact that obviously they don't have the terraforming above them to hit. So when you build up the dark oak logs on these ones, you're going to build it to a height of 23 on each of them, and they are otherwise identical to this one. And the gap between them is 7 blocks between each of them. You'll need to do that for both sides, which will leave your room looking like this. So that is all of our pillars built, and what we now need to do is build up the walls that go between them. We're going to begin by putting down the actual outline for those walls on the floor just with some white concrete powder, cyan terracotta and grey concrete powder, and then we'll build the walls up from there. So we're going to start with some white concrete powder, come to the back inside corner of this pillar just here, and place down a bit of white concrete powder just like that. Then take cyan terracotta and go 1, 2, 3, 4 back like that, and then 3 across like so with some grey concrete powder. Back to the cyan terracotta and build 4 back up this side, and 1 more bit of the white concrete powder like that. And then we're going to repeat that little pattern in both of the remaining 2 gaps. Once we have that in each of these 3 gaps, and I've gone ahead and done that on the other side there as well, we're going to start by building up the cyan terracotta section of these walls, and each line of cyan terracotta is going to get built up to a total height of 23 blocks. Once we have that up at the top here, we're going to come in 1 from both sides like that and just build that back for the full length of those walls. Then go up 1 more above each of them, and finally close off this little gap at the top. Now to fill in the back here, what we want to do is fill up our grey concrete powder to a total height of 3 like we had on that wall over there, and then the rest of this back area until this whole gap is filled in is just going to be filled up on top of that grey concrete powder with some cyan terracotta. Once you have all of those done, we're going to go back to our white concrete powder to build up the sides to these. And I'm actually going to start here at the back of the room this time and work my way forward. So on this one at the back, we're going to build up the white concrete powder here until it's the same height as these stairs. We then need to come behind and place any kind of solid block just behind and below the stairs like that. So we can make this white concrete powder be the full 2 block width to fill in the last of that gap. And we're going to do the same on this side. From there, we're then going to build both sides of these up until that white concrete powder is 1 block above the level of this block just here. So that should look like this. And what now happens is this white concrete powder arches over the top. Now because it's concrete powder and it wants to obey gravity, we need something to support it so it doesn't just fall down to the floor. So we're going to use string, and we're going to place it against that block and against these top 3 blocks here. Then go to your white concrete powder, place it on top of all that string you placed, just like that. And then we're going to place a few more blocks, 2 there and 2 there, and then 5 across the top so it looks like this, and then do the same on the rest of them. One thing to note about these ones at the front underneath the terraforming is that terraforming will get in the way a little bit of your concrete powder. So whenever you're building these, don't worry too much about that. Just put your concrete powder wherever the terraforming isn't, and then if there's terraforming in the way, just leave it there and move on. It's not too much bother because this terraforming is actually going to be getting extended down to the floor and covering up part of this anyway. Of course, you'll need to do this on both sides, and when you have, that will be our work done on the sides for now, and we can move on to the back. So like we did on the sides here, we're going to first outline the back on the floor before we build up the actual wall itself. We're going to start with some white concrete powder, place it against that corner just there like that, then go to some Cyan Terracotta, come back one in a diagonal, another one at diagonal, and bring it across 2, 3, 4, 5, then come back out like that and back out like that with the white concrete powder. Then from here we're going to come across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more blocks with that white concrete powder, go back to the Cyan Terracotta, do 3 across like that, then 1 back in a diagonal, a second back in a diagonal, and then break 5, 6, 7 blocks of that dirt like that, and build across your Cyan Terracotta like so. And what we can then do is, if we make a mirror image of what we've just done here over on this side, we should find that it perfectly meets up with this corner just here, which fortunately mine does. So that is what our outline for our back wall should look like. Again, following what we did on the sides here, we're going to start with the Cyan Terracotta in the middle sections here before we do any of this white concrete powder. We're going to begin by building up each of these two until they are a height that is 2 blocks above where this pillar is. Once you've got that, we're going to build up 1, 2, 3 blocks like so, and the same on this side. Then again, 1, 2, 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3 blocks, and connect that in the middle like so. And then what you can do is go ahead and fill in the back of this by building up this back wall of Cyan Terracotta. So that'll look like that once you've done it for both sides. And what we're doing now is, for this central section of the Cyan Terracotta, we're going to build up these 3 blocks, these 3 blocks at the side here to the same height as this bit just here. Do that for both sides. Then come in 1, and then on these top 3 blocks here, go 1, 2, 3, and then another 3 on top, just like that. And do that for this side as well. 1, 2, 3. And then on top of here, we're going to come up to that height with those, and 1 block less with those ones, and again the same on this side. Coming in 1 more, we're going to leave these bottom 2 and build it up like so. Then from there, come across 2 and build it up just like that, and again mirror it on this side. And we can then complete this arch by building across like that and filling it up to the top like so. From this one and this one, we're then going to build up to make a 1 block arch that is 1 block inside this existing one, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment when I'm done. That should look like that. You can see how this one we've just built kind of follows the line of that arch, 1 block inside. We're now going to do the same again for this, so another arch that is another 1 block inside what already exists. And there we go, I've done that. And the last thing on this section is now just to build up the rest of it from here to fill in that gap that we have. That completes our Cyan Terracotta work for this wall, and we can start with the white concrete powder. So similarly to what we did with this, we're going to come to the edge here and build up this block like so. Here we want to replace those stairs with white concrete powder and start building it up 2 across like that, and we're going to do this until that concrete powder is 1 block higher than this block just here. And then we're going to pretty much do the same thing in the middle. We want these middle ones to also get built up to 1 block above these ones just here. That will leave us with this solid wall going across the back here. And now we could go high with this. I have actually worked out some more of the stuff that goes above this, but that is now starting to get into territory where we're interacting with the roof that's going to go on here. And I think I want to get all of that kind of stuff done just in the same episode when we get to working on the roof. So we're going to leave this back wall as it is for now, which means all that's left to do in this episode is finish off these side walls, a little bit of filling in here, and bringing this terraforming down. So with the terraforming here now, what we want to do is we want to have it coming down, so it's kind of going diagonally down into this corner over here. Now I'm not going to show this block for block just because that's far too intricate and complicated and not really worth the time that it takes. But I will show you the general way that I'm using to do this. So you can see the shape that I've kind of outlined here. We've got the front of it kind of coming down diagonally into this one. Around here it's kind of wrapping around the top of that and around this pillar. And then over here at the bottom here, you kind of come across from the pillar and then go diagonally back into the wall here before coming back up to meet that wall and around up into the rest of the terraforming there. I'm using kind of a randomized combination of stone and andesite here, and one thing we want to make sure to do is whenever we're coming around here, we need to make sure that all of this grass block and any dirt blocks and any of this polished andesite that makes up the base of those pillars outside, that is all covered up, so that all you're going to be able to see from the inside here is the stone and the andesite. Now eventually, when you fill all of this in, this is the sort of shape that you are aiming for. Now, having filled it in the first time, I kind of ended up with something that looked very, very square and even and man-made. So I've tweaked it a bit, and now there's still maybe a little few bits kind of like around here that looks like quite straight lines going across there, but it's at least better than what it was, and I'm happy enough with it for now. So the key here really is trying to avoid those straight lines to make this look as natural as possible. Now don't worry if you're not really very good at terraforming. If you go back and watch the video that I did where we talk about the outside of the mansion and the terraforming around those waterfalls, there's a lot more detail than I go into here on some of the terraforming and how you can do it there. I just didn't really want to end up repeating myself because the process for this is pretty much exactly the same. So now the last thing to do here before we finish this episode is this little gap we still have here. We're going to replace all of this dirt here with a 3-block high lot of the grey concrete powder, and then any of the rest of the gap that might be there is going to get filled in with some Cyan Terracotta just like this. And now what we need to do, done on this side, we need to do exactly the same thing over on this side. And I think we're done with this. Now just a last couple of points to give you about this terraforming before we finish off. Firstly, you can see the slant that we have coming from out here down towards the base of the pillar on both sides. That is a really important aspect of the shape of these that you want to make sure you're getting. Also, if I come and look at it from this angle, the diagonal line coming from out here down across the pillar again to the base, that's another part of the shape we definitely want to have. If we zoom back out and look at both of them again, you will see that they're not actually identical. Again, this is something you're actually aiming for because remember, this is supposed to kind of be like the natural rock formation around the mansion that's actually been allowed to form a part of the design of it. So natural rock, you don't really tend to see two bits looking identical. So although the general shape of them is the same, they're both wide at the top and then narrow down to the bottom. They are not complete mirror image of each other. Last thing you'll notice around the top here is it kind of looks a little bit unfinished, which it is, but I think that's okay because when we come to do the roof, I think the very top part of this should be hidden by that. And if there's any part of that unfinished section that's actually peeking through underneath where the roof comes to, it'll be quick enough to just sort out that little bit when we get to it. And that does it for another episode here on this tutorial series. Hopefully it's been helpful and you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, let me know what you thought in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos from me. As always, there will be world downloads in the description along with links to my Discord and Twitter. And until next time, I've been Matt, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!